Hi, this video is part of my series on working with aggregates, and in this case we compute the crude birth rate. As you know, when we talk about aggregated data, it is data that has been already compiled by someone. So for example, in the aggregated statistics and the published numbers. Here, what you can see is what I have collected for Denmark from 1901 to 19. I'm just going to show you everything to 1930. So here we have births, so by male and female, by legitimate and illegitimate, and also I have the population. So a birth rate, it is just the relation between the number of births occurred and the population at a given time. So we have here births and we have the population. But we have them divided, so the first thing that we need to do is just to add them up. So I'm going to make a total for males, and then I'm going to do a total for females. Remember that in Excel, what we do is just we write a dollar equal sign, and then we just say, okay, man from this B3, I wrote a plus, and then I captured the other men. Okay, so 7,000. And remember that that is the formula that I'm using. That just means that I am summing the two cells. And if I take it from here, I create the sum for each one. See, here I am. I have those. I can do exactly the same thing for females from here, and then I would take women, and then I would take women. Okay, but another very nice feature of Excel is that it lets me track formulas. You've seen how I've tracked this formula down, but what happens if I drag it to the right? Check. So now we have C3 and E3, and as women are to the right of men, actually by dragging that, I have just produced that formula. Now with this C3 plus E3, I can just drag it down and onto. So now I have computed the number of men, number of women. Now I only need to add them up. Total births. And then now I do need to. Total males, total females, and we have these numbers. Perfect. So we have now all the information that we need. We have births and we have population. And doing a birth rate, it is very simple. We just need to divide the births by the population. So we just say equal. We just put the cell for births. We divide. Remember, there's this slash, and then we put a population. And of course, we get a really weird number, 0.04. So that's not what we want. We want it to be expressed in per thousands, because that is the measure in which we refer to birth rates. Also for death rate. So we just write a star, which is the multiplying sign, and then we say 1,000. So now this is a rate that we know, 35 per thousand, 36 almost. And as we've done before, we just take it down, and then we have computed for everyone, for every year in this period. How do we plot it? So we just go to insert. It's going to be completely different in your computer probably, but just get the idea. And then we select a line, would be a good idea. And then we just have it. But now we have to tweak a little bit so it actually tells us something. Now it is just a line. So let me start by just putting some legend. I'm gonna just put a chart. I'm gonna say that birth rate 1901 to 1930. Now we have a chart, so we don't need this anymore because it doesn't give us any information. I'm just adjusting, and this we need to change this. We need to give a proper axis. So in my computer, you go to select data and then you edit the horizontal axis. Remember that the horizontal axis is this one and the vertical axis is this one. So we go to edit, and it just in the label range, I just select this is the range that I wanted to appear below. And now, here we go. We have just something that's more meaningful. But still, this doesn't comply to what I told you about graphs. So what I'm going to do is just go and put something more on the axis. So I'm gonna put, we're gonna leave years because it's quite evident that it can be only the year in which births occurred. But what we need is actually the vertical axis because we don't know what these numbers are. So we just write births per 1,000. And now, everyone knows what is that we have. We could just, to make it a little bit nicer, go to the axis here and then take all these zeros because they are kind of ugly. So we could just go to number and say that we don't want any decimal places. And then that seems a little bit nicer. And then, yeah. And finally, when you put this into a Word document, I would always write something like note, data from statistics Denmark, and I would write everything, the pages and the things where I got it from. And this is how you compute a birth rate.